Hi sexy, come and watch till the end. 3 policemen notify Patrick, a farmer, that his brother, sister-in-law, and niece died in 1985. Only Jane, his older sister, survived. A bloody home corner found her shaving. Jane photographs abandoned houses. After the horrific event, she went to a foster home and forgot about her upbringing, family, and the day. She and Alan had Alice. Jane's relationship with Alan and Alice is strained due to her forgetfulness and school pickups. Jane visits her old residence while looking for new filming sites with Alice. She takes multiple pictures without understanding what they are. Alice communicates with a hidden Jack owner as her mom works. Jane calls the county assessor for this farmhouse's property records at home. Late night doorbell. Jane opens the door to find a parcel with the Jack Alice discovered and an unexpected bug. Jane obsesses over her final property after printing the picture. She forgets Alice until Alan calls. Jane fetches Alice. Alice allegedly called while driving. A woman says, Jane crashes after seeing a blonde girl. She wants you to come back, she says again, making her faint. Jane wakes up in the hospital, forgetting Alan and Alice. The accident made her forgetful, the doctor tells Alan. Liam, a therapist, promises to help Jane recall. Several hours later, Jane follows a ruckus outside her door to find Susie, the blonde girl she saw on the road. She tries to approach Susie, but she hides, and Alan and Alice, who are leaving for the night, stop her. Jane recalls them. After testing with Liam, Jane goes to bed and looks at many family photos to remember. A knock on the door awakens her from her sleep and reveals a box like the one at home. Dancer and agricultural scene on this box. The accident date broke Jane's heart. After hearing the doorbell at home, Alan hurries outside to get a crucial letter in an envelope. The next day, Alan gives Jane those papers and shocks her by informing her that the farmhouse belongs to her and that her uncle Patrick has been taking care of it. Liam feels a visit would help Jane forget seeking these papers and having an uncle. Jane asks Patrick about her. Jane's visit surprises Patrick. Jane does not think of Susie when the family sees Patrick a few days later. Patrick regrets sending Jane into foster care, but he wanted her to have a good life. Jane asks Patrick about her family after obtaining the home key. He claims they died at home. Jane remembers his support, but not him. Jane then expressed concern about her family's agricultural trip. She goes out the back door for air. She follows a strange sound to the field center and finds a red balloon with a key and a welcome home note. Alan and Alice find Jane's old bedroom. Alan must locate Jane's sister's room key. Alice cannot unlock an old music box and its toys. Alan locks the door. The next day, the family visits the town. Jennifer, an antique shop clerk, shows Jane a framed 1985 newspaper piece with a narrative about the event suggesting Jane was to blame. Liam calls Jane to confirm their meeting today. Jane can see Liam in the store, but he claims to be at his office. After calling, Jane follows Liam into the hay bale labyrinth. She is lost. Breaking walls, she departs. Jane rushes to her car and finds another little box. She opens it. Jane opens the package and sees half a picture of herself as a child, her fuzzy-faced mother, and her sister Susie. They will hear her. Alice wakes Jane up at home. Jane is confused and follows Alice to Susie's room, recalling her mother giving her sister the music box. Her daughter believes Alice is dead, and her mother and Susie's ghosts approach Jane. Jane observes Susie's device. Jane panics and rushes to her old room to discover her younger self shaving. Jane wakes Alan. While Alan sleeps, Susie crawls out from under the bed to tell them Jane has come. Jane leads Susie to the closet. After much fighting, Jane blinks and is in Alice's room with her daughter, holding Susie on the floor. Jane discovers a Jack in her room after Alice jolts her mother. The next day, Jane sees Patrick for answers. Patrick says his brother was an alcoholic and quick-tempered worker who never abused his family. Jane saw the disaster alone. Alice apologizes for keeping Jane up all night at brunch. Jane asks Alan to take Alice to the lake before clarifying. Alice wants to go home after getting her wish since she feels terrible there. Jane enters Susie's room after Alan and Alice leave. Balloon keys open doors. After searching, she follows Susie through the ancient barn window. Jane finds their sheep fort in the old barn. The fort has Susie's asthma medicine, a Swiss Army knife, and Jane's key. Jane is warned to leave by Susie. Susie helps Jane escape the fort. Jane moves the sheets to the field. A box holds an old razor. Alice tells Alan about her weird dreams. Alice thinks her closet monster is the real menace, not Jane. Liam watches the family pack. Jane looks away as Alice races for the old barn. Susie tells Jane they must keep her. Jane clutches Alice before recognizing her. Alan comes before she does anything dreadful, and as Alice hurries back home, Alan shouts at Jane for harming his daughter as they follow her out. They are surprised to find the barn's Swiss Army knife in a smashed car wheel. Jane refuses to help Alice, who calls for help from within. She informs her parents that the monster under the bed is after her. Asthma ensued. Jane knows Susie did it. Alice and Alan descend, but the front door is locked. Jane steps back and enters. Alan asks a passing car to take Alice to the hospital while Jane looks for answers. Tag, you are it. Susie takes Jane to her room and unlocks the music box with the barn key after she performs. She finds 2 ballerinas matching the box and the other side of the portrait, indicating Liam is Jane's dad. Susie tells Jane to hide under the bed from the monster. Patrick brings Susie little gifts. Due to uncertainty, Jane leaves the bedroom. Liam silences her so she can comprehend Patrick's evil. In her chamber, he assaulted Susie. Jane witnessed it from under Susie's bed. Liam slept on the couch when their parents came early. Jennifer, their mother, heard Susie asking for help and went upstairs with a tool. Patrick quickly murdered her with the instrument. Jane received her body. Patrick disregarded Susie's asthma. He chased Jane, who had enough, and fled. When the noises woke Liam, young Jane hid in the bathroom and grabbed the shaver. She retreated as Patrick approached. Jane met Liam downstairs. After falling and killing Liam, Jane forgot. After his brother died, Patrick checked on Susie, who died of asthma. Patrick gave Liam the gadget before departing to prevent issues. Jane awoke to her father's corpse. The police found her in a corner after she fled. Liam believes he did not tell Jane because he needed her to release the spirit. Jane cries and apologizes to her family, who leave as Alan comes home. He tells Jane that he left Alice with Patrick because she was better. To safeguard her child, Jane drives with a flat tire. Patrick nervously addresses Alice. He misnames her Susie and asks her to keep the game a secret. When Alan and Jane arrive, he takes Alice to the barn. He shoots, approaching Alan. Jane may grab Patrick from behind while he is glancing at Alan. Patrick wakes up confined in Susie's chamber. To avenge the spirits, Jane imprisons him. Jane visits her family's grave to start a new life with Alan and Alice. Patrick's cries for help in the old barn go unheard. The end. See you later, sexy.